we are on. Hey, Roshon. I was
Hi
like, Lord,
everybody. How y'all doing?
I'm good. I was like, Lord, let me post this link. But okay, well, I'm getting off then. I'm tired. So
Okay, enjoy yourself. Get you some rest.
thank you so much. Have a good time. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye-bye. We'll get started in a few minutes. I'm gonna give about 2, 3 more minutes for everybody to get an opportunity to get on. Okay, hello everyone. How is everyone doing? I'm hoping that you all are doing well. I'm sorry about the delay. I had technical difficulties and I wasn't able to get on for some reason. My computer's running super slow. So my name is Roshon, and I kind of do the basics of Forex trading. I start out with doing PIP calculation. There's a whole presentation that goes with the PIP calculation. I teach you how to take trades from Dr. Kathy, and I teach you how to calculate PIPs. I teach you how to do a take profit and a stop loss. Then at the end of the presentation, what I allow for is question and answer time. So if there's questions that you have about Forex that you're curious about, you may not understand, if I have the answers, I will give them to you. Um, if I don't have the answer, I normally know where to tell you to go in order to get that answer. Um, if you have any questions or comments or concern as I go through the presentation that has to do with PIP calculation, then I will be more than happy to answer them. At the end, I'll ask that you hold, if it's not about PIP calculation and what we're talking about in the presentation, then just hold your questions to the end and I will give time for you to ask your questions and I'll answer them. I see that there's a lot of new people on tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get started so that everybody has an opportunity to hear the presentation. And if you have any questions, like I said, just ask me. I'm an educator by trade. I've been in education for almost 16 years. So I'm cool with questions. My goal tonight is to make sure that everybody knows how to take a trade and calculate their pips, take profit, and stop loss. Okay, let's get started. All right. So when you're taking Dr. Kathy's trades, I have noticed that she has placed them in the 10 pip and dip Telegram chat a whole lot. And sometimes she gives a take profit of more than 10 pips. But rule of thumb, Dr. Kathy only gives you 10 pips. She guarantees 10 pips when she gives a trade. The first thing I want to teach you all about, I'm going to just teach you. I normally ask the question, but because we have so many new people who have kind of joined Forex here recently, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this stuff. And so if it's old news to you, trust me, there's some couple of people on here that do not know this information. So just bear with me. So when you're looking at your chart, like this right here where my arrow is, we refer to what we trade are called pairs. And that's what I'm circling right now. That's a pair. That's the European dollar against the US dollar. And we call these pairs. This part right here is your spread. And that's 13. I know that it's backwards looking. I apologize. That's just the way it came through. So it's your spread. Your spread is what you have to pay the broker before you can go into profit and get your money. That's important. So if you have a 13 spread, you put a decimal in the middle of the 13 and you say, I'm going to pay them 1 pip, 1.3 pips before I go into profit. That's very important to know because you need to know how you're going to get paid. The numbers over here are the difference. So that's real. These numbers right here are the difference, and that's what the spread is. Okay? So now let's go back to taking Dr. Kathy's trade now that you know a little basic information. So while I'm saying it, you're not confused. All right, so a call is made. Let's say that she says, sell EUR USD 10 pips. So the first thing you will do is you will go to your screen that's right here. You will find EUR USD, press on, hold it down. It'll pop up for trade. If you have an Android, what it'll say is new order. You'll still hold down EUR USD. It'll pop up a box. For the iPhones, it'll say trade. For the Androids, it will say new order. You'll press on that. Since she said sell, the first thing you want to do after you press on trade is hit sell. That's the first thing you want to do because you want to lock your entry price in. It's important to have your entry price locked in because that's what you're going to use to calculate your pips and be able to hit your take profit or hit your stop loss. So once you've locked in your entry price by hitting sell, then it'll go back to the screen called position screen. And what you'll have to do is modify your order. So you'll then again hold down EUR USD while it's in that position. And then you will be able, another menu box will pop up and it'll say modify order if you have an Android and modify if you have an iPhone. And you'll press on that and you'll be able to go back in and put your take profit and your stop loss. Okay? Oh, and this is what I just talked about. So let me modify your order. These are your positions. Let me talk about that a little more real quick. All right, so this is called the position screen. Okay. This is once again, this is your pair. This number right here is what you bid. Okay. So right now they have GBP USD, which is the Great Britain pound of the US dollar, in a buy for 0.25 cent. Right underneath your pair is going to be your entry price. That's important because you have to know what your entry price is to calculate your pips. This number right here is current price. This is your current price. Okay. So in order to modify this order, you would place your finger on GBP USD, hold it. This menu would pop up right here. There's the same concept for an Android that it is for an iPhone. The concept is still the same. The wording is a little different, but the concept is still the same. Okay, so you would put your finger on GBP USD, you get a pop-up box. You would hit modify or modify order, depending on if you have an Android or an iPhone, and then it will go over to the next screen, which will allow you to put in your take profit and your stop loss. Okay. All right, so let's talk about PIP calculation. It's very basic. It's basic math. So what will happen is you will go in and say, all right, I hit sale. And if you're doing a take profit for a sale, it is subtraction. Okay, so you're going to subtract. So your entry price is 65. You're going to subtract 10 pips because that's what Dr. Kathy normally gives us. And you're going to get 55 as your take profit. If you're doing a stop loss for a sale, you're going to do addition. So remember, your entry price is 65. You're going to add 30, and that will give you 95. And that would be your stop loss. Your take profit for a buy, you would do addition. So when do you put in your lot or volume in? Okay, I'll show you that in just a few minutes, Chris. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me finish this and I'll show you in just a moment, okay? Take profit, I'm sorry, your take profit for a buy is addition. So your entry price is 65. You'll add 10 pips, which will give you 75 as your take profit. Your stop loss for a buy is going to be subtraction, which is the opposite of the stop loss for the sale. Your entry price is 65, and then you'll subtract 30 to get your stop loss of 35. Now I need to give a disclaimer. Your take profit pips are for training purposes only. I use them all. I picked that number 10 also because that's normally what how many pips Dr. Kathy guarantees when she does a trade. 30, you will never be given a stop loss by Dr. Kathy, myself, or anybody else. The 30 pips is for training purposes only. You have to decide what you're willing to lose, okay? Okay. I haven't forgotten about you, Chris. Just let me get through this part of the PIP of the presentation, and I promise you, I will show you where you get to put your lot size in. All right. So let's use real numbers. These are actual numbers from an actual pair that we're going to use. I did the basic math just so I can help you. So let's do a sale. Remember, with a sale, we're subtracting 10 pips. We're going to use the third and the fourth number behind the decimal place. So if our entry price is 1.30658, we're going to use 65 because that's the third and the fourth number behind the decimal place. So that's 65. Then we're going to do a take profit of 10 pips. So we're going to add 10 pips. That's going to give us, I'm sorry, I apologize. We're going to subtract because we're selling. We're subtracting. I apologize. Let me fix that. So we're going to subtract 10 pips. That's going to give us 55. So what we're going to do is take that 55 and we will place it in the third and the fourth number behind the decimal place. So that will give us 1.30558. This last number will always stay the same. Make sure that you put that last number in there. That's a part of your PIP calculation. If you don't put that number in there, that last number in there, you will not get your full 10 pips, which means you will lose some money. So that's called a pipette. Now let's do a buy. Buy, we add. So we're going to add 10 pips. We're going to use the third and the fourth number behind the decimal place to add. So once again, it's 65 is our entry price. Our entry price is 1.30658. So we'll take 65. We're adding, so we're going to add 10. Excuse me. That's going to give us 75. We'll take the 75 and place it in the spot of the third and the fourth number behind the decimal place, giving us 1.30758. We keep our 8 the same because that's our pipette. Are there any questions so far? Okay. All right, let's talk about stop loss. The first thing I want to tell you is that when Dr. Kathy gives out trades, even Cam, I know she does a few, Mike Millions does a few. When they give out trades or give out signals, they are not thinking that that trade is going to go bad. They believe that that trade is going to go exactly where they want it to go. Okay? But the market does what the market wants to do sometimes, and a trade can go bad. And if a trade goes bad, you have to know in your head, how much am I willing to lose? How many pips am I willing to lose or risk from my account in order to be able to gain money? That's where your stop loss comes in. So, first of all, remember, this is the amount you are willing to lose. Dr. Kathy will never give a stop loss for you. She normally does not give stop losses. I think I've seen one stop loss in the last 2 years that I've been trading with her. She doesn't give stop losses. But she does trade with the cloud. And the cloud has a blue line. And that blue line, if you look at that blue line and then look over across where price is, wherever that blue line is lined up with price, you can use that as a stop loss. That's just a suggestion, not a mandate. So in order to do a stop loss for a sale, we're going to have to add. So for a sale, we're going to add. And we're going to do it from our entry price. So remember, our entry price was 1.30658. We're going to do 30 pips stop loss, give the market some time to move around. Now remember, the 30 pips is for training purposes only. It does not dictate that you have to use that stop loss. So it would be 65 plus 30, which would give us 95. We would take that 95 and put it in the third and the fourth number slot, because we use 65, which is our entry price, which is in the third and the fourth number slot behind the decimal place. And we would replace it with 95, keeping the 8 the same, which is our pipette. So we have a stop loss of 1.30958. Now, if we're going to do a buy, we're going to subtract from our entry price. Once again, our entry price, third and fourth number behind the decimal place, is 65. So we would take 65 and we would subtract 30, which would give us 35. And we take that 35 and put it in the slot behind the third and the fourth number. The third and the fourth number behind the decimal place. That would give us 1.30358, keeping our 8 the same, which is our pipette. Okay? Are there any questions about stop losses? Okay. All right. So when you're placing your trade in, you're going to put your stop loss in this slot right here. This is for an iPhone. I'll tell about the Android in just a minute. But for an iPhone, your stop loss will go in this spot right here. You'll put your stop loss after you calculate it in this spot. Your take profit will go right here. You'll put it in that slot right there. And then you'll hit place, and that will lock all of that in for you. Now, if you have an Android, there are 2 lines on your Android once you flip over to this particular part of it, which is where you're modifying your order. The screen that pops up after you hit modify order, there's a red line and there's a green line. The green line is for your take profit, and the red line is for your stop loss. And that's how you will put them in there. And then at the bottom of your screen, you'll hit close, submit. I think it's close or submit, but it's a button at the very bottom of your screen that you will hit in order to lock those prices in for the Android. Okay. All right. So there are some exceptions to the rule. The exceptions to the rule are the JPY pairs. The JPY pairs are calculated differently. They don't have a third and a fourth number behind the decimal place, so you can't use the third and the fourth number to calculate your pips with. You have to use the first and the second number with a JPY pair. Okay? So you will use the first and the second number following the decimal place. So for an example, if you had buy USD JPY, your entry price is 109.757. So that first and second number is 75. So that would make the 7 the pipette. The third number would be the pipette. So we would take the 75, which is the first and the second number behind the decimal place. We would add 10 to that, which would give us 85. And we would put the 85 right behind the decimal place in the first and the second number again. First and the second number behind the decimal place. And it would give us a take profit of 109.857 because we keep our pip at the same. For our stop loss, we would still go back to entry price and we would do 75 plus, 75 minus, please forgive me. 75 minus 30, because that's the stop loss. And we would get 45. We would take the 45 and put it in the first and the second number behind the decimal place. Keep the 7 the same. So we would have a stop loss of 109.457. Let's come over here to sell. Okay, so if we're selling a JPY pair, we're still going to use the first and the second number behind the decimal place. So from entry price, which is 109.757, we would take the 75, which is the first and the second number. We would leave the pipette alone, which is the 7. It stayed the same. And what we would do is find our take profit. We're selling, so we're going to subtract. And we subtract 10, which will give us 65. We would take it and place it in the first and the second number behind the decimal place, keeping the pipette, which is 7, the same, which will give us a take profit of 109.657. So when we do the stop loss, we'll go back to entry price, take the 75. We're going to add 30 because we are doing a stop loss. So we're adding 30 pips to our entry price. That's going to give us 105 as our answer for our take profit. Now, what you have to do with that, because you can't put all 3 numbers behind the decimal place, it will not work. So you have to take the first number, which is the 1, and add it to the 109. So that would give you 110. Then you would take the 05 and place it behind the decimal place, and that would give you 057. Pipette stays the same. And you would have a stop loss of 110.057. Are there any questions about this particular exception to the rule? Okay, great. Okay. So we have one more I need to go over, and that is gold. Dr. Kathy loves gold. That's one of her favorite pairs to trade. And so I'm going to teach you how to calculate pips on gold so that you'll be able to trade it. So if you're buying or selling, you're going to do it for 10 pips because remember, that's what we work with as a take profit. You'll use the first and the second number behind the decimal place. So if you have an entry price of 112.54, you're going to take the 54 and you're going to add 10 for a buy. And that will give you 64. You take the 64 and put it in the first and the second number behind the decimal. Notice they do behind the decimal place. Notice there's no pipette. You would keep the 1200 the same because your entry price is 1200.54. So you would keep it the same. You do 1200.64. Okay? That would be your take profit for 10 pips. So if you want to calculate your stop loss, you would use the first and the second number behind the decimal place again. Keeping the 1200, we're just working with these numbers back here. So it would be, you go back to entry price, 54, and then what you do is subtract 30. That would give you 24, and you place it in that slot right there. And the opposite is true for selling. So if you're selling, what you would do is still use the 54, but what you would do is you would subtract 10 for your take profit and add 30 for your stop loss. Okay? Now, I need to answer Chris's question. He asked me, where do you place your lot size? So, let me go to this last one. Okay, so let me go back to, Chris, do you have an Android or do you have a iPhone? Can you tell me that? You can put it in the chat if you need to, or you can unmute.
Android.
You have an Android, okay. So on the Android, when you go over to your, when you go over to modify order, or when you go to place your order. So when you go to trade, because when you modify your order, you can only go, your lot size can only decrease. It cannot increase. So what you have to do is you have to set the, you have to set the lot size when you go to hit trade. So at the beginning, when I talked about going in and locking in your entry price, you also have to lock in your lot size at that time also. So it's going to be right above your green and red line, and it'll be in the center. Can you see that, Chris?
Yes, I got that. When you just said that, that's why I asked the question, because I know when you said that you want to go in, and then when you click that on the pair, and then you want to go ahead and click sell. I remember that before, and I tried to go back and change the lot or so, and it wouldn't allow me to do that. So that's why I was asking you at that moment, do you set your lot size or your volume right then and then push sell, or
Yeah.
you know?
Right. So you would have to put that in there before you lock in your entry price. So before you hit sell or buy, you have to adjust your lot size or your volume size, if you like to say that. Mm-hmm.
And my last question, I don't know if for sure if you know this part. I wrote down how do you adjust the entry if you get like, say for instance, I remember you said that that Dr. K sends out the 10 pips and dips,
Mm-hmm.
and say for instance you get like 30 minutes or an hour late. Do you change from how do you change it from the entry?
Okay, so that's really tricky. And the rule of thumb on that one is, because when Dr. Kathy makes a trade, she believes it's already going in that direction. I have seen it where she'll call something and in 5 minutes it'll hit take profit. So the rule of thumb is that if the trade, you have to look at the time at the bottom of where she posted it, okay? If it's over 5 to 10 minutes old, I wouldn't take that trade. Did I answer your question, what you was asking me?
Yes, indeed. That was perfect.
Now, I will tell you, do I do it? Yes, but like I said, I've been trading with Dr. Kathy for about 2 years, okay? So because I've been trading with her so long, I kind of know how to look at the charts and know where she was going with what she was trying to do. So, but until you get there, if it's over 5 to 10 minutes old, I wouldn't take that trade. Now, you can take it if you want to, but I wouldn't take it. I'd wait for the next trade. Okay? All right, so I have something in the chat. I'm sorry, Chris, did you have another question?
No, I just said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. How do you add or subtract from the US 30? Okay, so I want to tell you that I know how to do that, and I had promised them I would learn, but I'm still trying to figure it out. The US 30 to me is very volatile, so I'm still working on how to trade it. So y'all gonna have to you have to give me a little bit more time, Lou. Is it lose? Is it lose?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll tell you the expert edit is Cam. So if you want to place it in the chat and ask her how do you add, or inbox Cam and ask her how do you trade the US 30, adding or subtracting the pips for that one, you're more than welcome to.
Okay.
I'm just not versed in it, and I'm not going to pretend like I am.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Sorry about that. Are there any more questions, comments, or concerns?
Oh, actually, one more question, Roshon. Just based on what she just asked you about the US 30,
Mm-hmm.
if Dr. K sent out the pips for to say US 30, do you enter in the same way, or that's not dealing with what Luz was asking?
No. She wanted to know how to calculate the pips for it. Dr. Kathy, because she knows that I haven't been training very hard with that US 30 yet, but I have started. I'm not gonna. I've started. So she actually will give you the take profit for it. And I saw yesterday she had the take profit and the stop loss for it. So she's calculating it for you. Okay, so that you just have to put in your take profit and your stop loss section in your MetaTrader 4 whatever she puts in the chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's why I am here for US 30 calculations. Oh, I am sorry. Ooh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. Is that and I'm going to get it. I promise you, I will get it. But I don't have it for you this week. I am so sorry because I didn't start trying to trade it until I think Friday of last week, Thursday of last week, and I'm still working with it. So I apologize. Please forgive me. And you know what? I'll do it. I'll put it in the group chat. I'll ask. I'll direct it at Cam because I know she knows how to do it. And see if she will respond back on the chat so that everybody can get that information. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize. Are there any more questions, comments, concerns? I will say with the US 30, I know that I just saw that someone is solely here for that. I will tell you that when it's put in the chat as a trade, Dr. Kathy does give you the take profit so that you are able to put that in there. Any more questions or comments? Because I'm not the one to hold the time. If we're done, we're done. I'm not going to hold up the time. No? All right. Well, if there are no more, oh wait, we got one. Okay. Thank you, Diane. And is it Shards? I can't say your name. Can you unmute and tell me what your name is?
Roshon.
You're welcome, Luz. Huh?
Thank you, Roshon. It's Charlotte, but I just put Shari, and that's success. It's just I'm going to be successful in trading.
Amen. You're gonna be there. You're gonna
Shari,
get it.
that's why it's Shari success.
Shari success. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you. Okay.
Not a problem. Y'all have a great night. I could not work out gold pips before easy when you know. Yeah, it is. It is easy when you know how. Yes, Pam. You're welcome. Y'all have a wonderful evening, and thank you all so much for listening. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Samsung.